Welcome to Best Practice. We're here 2019, we're kicking off the new year, and if you're somebody who is struggling to get your team engaged, struggling to get your ISO program started, you've spoken to us about getting a proposal for ISO certification, we thought we would just talk through a couple of the common issues around, how to actually maybe get your project going by stealth, how to do things without any budget, without any time, without any approval. There's a few little things you can get started on which have huge impacts and they pay huge dividends with your ISO project. So I'm Kobe Simmet, I'm the CEO here at Best Practice, and I've got Hugh here with me today. So if you're from Sydney, you may have met Hugh or myself. And if you're watching from elsewhere around the country, welcome to Best Practice. These live YouTube videos are something that we often do. They're often weekly. On a Wednesday, we'll do a Making Time for Improvement. That's a quick little live video. We also do a monthly webinar. So if you've picked up a copy of the Certified magazine, which you'll see just here behind me, there's the most recent copy, Certified magazine. In the back of that magazine are the posted dates for the upcoming live webinars. And I think, Jack, there's one next Wednesday, if that's correct. So look out for the email invitation for that. So stacks of emails coming out towards you. And if they are, if they're getting a little bit overwhelming, let us know. But we are constantly focused on looking at what the challenges are that you're experiencing, what some of the issues might be that you're experiencing, and looking at ways that we can help you. Within this YouTube channel, there's over 500 videos, all targeted at helping you understand ISO 9001, ISO 14001, ISO 45001, ISO 27001, all the different ISO standards we work with. And I thought I would just share today some of the challenges. You might be stuck in limbo. You might have been thinking about getting certified for a long period of time. You've reached out to us for a proposal. Maybe you're stuck making the decision around, don't go ahead with that proposal. I think, Hugh and I are going to talk about some of the challenges, and I'm going to ask Hugh some of the questions that we've been looking at. But I think it's common. So you're not alone, I think, is the first thing, and it's something that I'm ultimately here to help you with. So whether it's here with the YouTube channel, whether you dial into the office, I'm always happy to take a call. So you can always call into the 1300 number, see if you can get hold of me. If not, leave a message or hit the live chat function. So just a little bit of housekeeping. A couple of the cool features with our YouTube videos is the live chat facility that's on the side of the video. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see a chat function where you can see live comments coming up. So if you're not viewing in full screen mode, if you reduce it down to just the window, you'll see a chat facility. And if you're a Google user, so if you've got Gmail or you've got a YouTube account, then you can actually jump on there and you can make comments. Now, if you're not, this is an opportunity. It's a Q&A session. So I am here for you. We are here for you to help answer any questions that you might have. If you're watching on a desktop, if you open another tab in your browser and go to www.bestpracticecertification.com.au, a little live chat window pops up, and there's a couple of people here in the office right now, live, that can take your questions. So if you can't get a question through to us because you're not able to comment on the video, not logged into YouTube, then you can send a question through. The other place that I'd encourage you to just to jump on and you can ask questions is to catch me on LinkedIn. My handle on LinkedIn is @KobeSimmet. So it's my first name and my last name. You can Google me, you'll find all my details. I've got a gigantic digital footprint. And sending me a direct message on LinkedIn. So if you want to get to me personally and just have a personal, quiet conversation, messages backwards and forwards, LinkedIn is the best place to get me. It's the place that I go to. I carve out specific points in time in the day to actually address and answer questions you might have with your project, concerns, how I can help you. And all that advice is from me, certainly in this format, is free. So you don't need to worry, I don't want you to worry about the cost. I don't want that to be a barrier. If you just want to send me a quick message, there's no obligations there. You're concerned about something. It really does help me, which is why I do it, because it helps me understand the challenges that you have, what you're thinking about, all those sorts of things. Okay, so let's get into it. We're talking today about some of the challenges, some of the barriers, how to get get your team on board. And I think the first thing that I want to just maybe talk about, and I'll give you this quick tip and then we'll ask some other questions, is the first thing to start with is management review, and you can do that independently of ISO. You can do that independently of any of the other projects that you're running, and that's really just booking a team meeting. And I'd look at 3 to 4 weeks from now is saying to your team, would it be okay if I booked a 4-hour offsite meeting with you, or a 4-hour meeting, so that we can work together on the business? Forget about ISO, forget about that project. You want to just work on the business. You want to talk about the goals and challenges and what success looks like in the first part of the year, and just have that conversation. And I can almost guarantee that the vast majority of people in your organisation that you contact are going to want to be involved in that. And if you put it 4 weeks out, there's a really good chance that you're going to get buy-in. Getting closer to the date is going to be a bit more of a challenge as we get busier into the year. But now's a great time to organise those strategy sessions. Now, in ISO world, that's management review, and that's going to get you a long way towards being prepared to get certified or having an ISO system in place. So even if you're not ready yet to get stuck into certification, you're not ready to sign, our agreements, you're not ready to accept our proposals, I want you to do that anyway, because that's going to help you improve your business. So I just wanted to give you that sort of first up and say, look, the place to start is work on the business. Then we can start to talk about some of the things. But Hugh, what have you've been here a couple of months now, and we've been to lots of meetings together. We've done lots of kilometres leading into Christmas as we were really, really busy.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges? What are some of the the things that are coming up that might be consistent for these guys that are watching? We've got a few people watching live right now, but what are the things that you're sort of they're striking, and I might be able to help and say, well, here's the solution.
I mean, most of the conversations that we've been having is very much around timing. Is that we've got tons and tons of clients that are coming to us, and they're starting their journey with ISO, but they don't really know how to get stuck into it, and they don't really know sort of the timeframes they want to be working on it. So what we've now started to try and do is we have a really open conversation and say, okay, well, are you looking, are you looking relatively soon? Are you looking in the next few months? Or are we looking in this year? Or whereabouts are you? And I think a lot of people haven't really had that thought yet as to when they really want to achieve it, and when. So a lot of it is timing.
Okay, so that's a great thing. So
Yeah.
So internally in the business, I've experienced lots of different answers to that question. I've experienced people saying, we need to be ISO certified right now.
Yep.
Because we've got a tender.
Yep.
And we were speaking to a few people before Christmas. They're starting projects early in the new year, and their clients were asking them to be certified.
Yep.
And there were also some pending projects, like they hadn't quite won the project yet,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like, oh, we don't want to get certified, we don't want to put all this sort of stuff in place and then not win the work.
Yeah.
So there's two things I guess I'd ask is, with any of these systems, it's a business improvement system. What you're actually going to be implementing is a more formal methodology to be constantly working on the business to improve it. So we've got to be asking the question, well, why is our customer asking us to be ISO certified?
Yeah.
And is that particular type of customer going to come up again? And the reality is if you've been asked once, you will get asked again. So it's not the sort of thing that I see clients ask just once and it's never again ever. It's becoming more and more common. And so it's probably important to set an internal expectation for yourselves that if we've been asked once, we'll get asked again.
Yep.
And so it is important to start making some methodical steps towards that. We all like to be organised. We like to be prepared. We will all feel more confident when that's the case. But we can all equally fall into the rut of coming to work and just reacting on what we need to do each day.
Yeah.
And so we sort of have to actually go look at ourselves, audit ourselves, if you like, and say, am I coming to work each day and just reacting to my email inbox? So is the first thing that I come in to work and do each day check my email? Well, who sent you emails overnight?
Yeah.
It's the productive people.
Yeah.
So be the productive person, and maybe, this is a bit of personal advice, but I don't actually check my email until after lunch, because I come in and I do all my productive stuff and I get on top of my productive activity, all the things that I need to do, working on projects, that type of stuff. Then I start to look at, okay, how can I help other people?
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Now, I might be helping someone from the previous day. I'm like, right, in the afternoon, what's all the stuff? And it's just about reorganizing so that if you are proactive and you are organized and you are getting onto those things, then you can then expect your business to. But please don't have the expectation that you expect the rest of your organisation to be proactive and organised, and when they are, then you will be. We've all got to set the standard and set the behaviour, if that makes sense. So, and that applies with ISO, and that's why I'm saying to you, the place to start is to start with management review. Have a look at the standard if you've got a copy of it, or download one of the free checklists from our website, or purchase a copy of the standard. You can purchase the standards from us. Jump onto our training store and you can buy the standards there. Have a read of management review, and that's ISO is not asking you to do a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't benefit your business. ISO is saying work on your business, set yourself some KPIs, put plans in place, and then those things are going to help your business to grow and evolve. And your customer is asking you to be ISO certified because your customer is asking you to be a better business. If you're a better supplier, then their business is going to be better, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess that's sort of, to address when should we do it. I think the time is now. That not now get certified, now get started, book your management review, start booking in and working through those things methodically now while you're not under pressure.
So this just made me think of a question there. So obviously we've just had New Year's, and New Year's, and this is actually off the kind of a conversation that we had the other day where you said, New Year's ticks over, and a lot of people just kind of go, right, it's a brand new year, we're going to set these goals and we're going to smash things out, and we're really going to focus on this, this and this and this. In your experience, do you think there's ever a perfect time to do something, or is it just getting started?
Look, I think I'm always like, just start. Yeah. Because when you start, no one's watching. When you start, you're never going to get it right first time.
Yeah.
So, my kayaking coach says, perfect practice makes perfect. So I think just starting. However, what I will say is that there are industries that have highs and lows, like quiet time. So if you're in accounting practice, end of year is going to be, whether you're in the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere, depending on when your financial year is, an accounting practice is always going to have a busy year end.
Yeah.
So for us here in Australia right now, if you're in Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, here in Australia right now, now's a good time to do it because everyone's quiet. The roads are quiet, the traffic's quiet, there's no school zones.
Yeah.
So now's a good time, and people's calendars are pretty clear. And so unless you flaunt it all the way through the Christmas break and then you're flat out, now's probably a good time to actually gather people and say, look, and it's a bit cliche, but what are the New Year's resolutions for the business? If you sat down for 3 hours and said, what are the New Year's resolutions for the business? Let's write them down. What are we doing about that?
Yep.
Write that down. There's your plan. That's management review.
Yeah.
You can actually say, well, management review, it's not exactly right now how the ISO standard wants it to be, but it's a good start. So just get started. And when you do the second one of those, what are our resolutions for the time from Easter to the middle of winter?
Yep.
So let's go from New Year's to Easter, and then Easter to the middle of winter. What are going to be our Easter resolutions? You ate a bunch of chocolate. Okay, everyone's going to need to lose some weight. Whatever it might be.
Yep.
Breaking it down into that sort of part, and you say, okay, at Easter we're going to have a bit more of a rigid agenda that follows the intent of implementing a business plan. So what's our business plan? What's our New Year's resolutions? What are we doing about that is the most important thing. What happened last year that didn't go well? Oh my God, that was so stressful. We don't want that to happen again. We want to be focusing on that. And that's the concept. The ISO standards talk about risk-based thinking. So when's the time to start? I'm going to say January is a good time, and that was sort of what prompted us to do that, because most businesses are quiet. But also, I think it is easy. I've found it to be easier. What does starting look like? Starting looks like this afternoon before you go home from work, looks like sending a meeting invite out to your team, your key influencers, not top management, not executive management, people that are key influencers. There's 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 key influencers in around your team. Sending a meeting invite for 1 month from now. Because if it's next week, too busy. Fortnight, maybe. 3 weeks,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
A month, no one's got anything in their calendar in a month's time, unless it's a conference or a holiday, or training or something specific. But all the reactive stuff, I'm too busy. No one's too busy a month from now.
Yeah.
Unless you're a doctor or a dentist with surgeries or a
major things booked in.
Someone birthing babies, or all that sort of stuff that's booked in. So that's why I'd encourage you to say, well, you can do that. That's a pretty simple thing to do. Is say, okay, I just want to grab 4 hours of your time 4 weeks from now. Would that be okay?
Yeah.
Get that permission, and then that gets it started, because then you can build your agenda. If you manage to succeed in booking that 4-hour meeting, give me a call. Like, I'll be around the office tomorrow. Give me a call, and I'll help you with the agenda. I'll help you with what to talk about. It's 4 questions. In the next 12 weeks, so these are the 4 questions to ask in that meeting. In the next 12 weeks, what does success look like? And what are you doing about that?
Yeah.
In the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? What are you doing about that? And then in the last 12 weeks, what went wrong? And what are we doing to prevent that? So it's really, in the next 12 weeks, what does success look like, and what are we doing about that? That's your business plan. But then the other 2 questions, if you like, and it's in the next 12 weeks, what could go wrong? In the last 12 weeks, what went wrong?
Yep.
But what does success look like, and what are we doing about that? That's the most important thing, because that's the forward preventative. These are the issues that keep coming up. The other is risk-based thinking. So that's really all you need to talk about for 4 hours. If you could squeeze in a conversation about a SWOT analysis, what do we think our strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are? That'll put some context around those other questions. And if you could drop the issue, so if you could just use a whiteboard or butcher's paper, or write on a window with a whiteboard marker, whatever it might be, notepad, if you could just brainstorm that stuff down, and if you could get someone who's in an administrative role in your business to just drop all those points into a little Google sheet or an Excel spreadsheet, that starts to become your risk register. What's the issue? What are we doing about it? And then you can have a conversation. We can have more of an in-depth conversation later. I can help you with this about how to prioritize that stuff.
Yeah.
And that gives you your risks. And then you've got a management review meeting, you're doing a bit of a workshop, and you've got a risk register starting to evolve. You're halfway to having what is effectively a management system pulled together, because the management system is all about quarterly meeting, what are we improving, project, let's do something about it, how do we go?
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
What are some of the other, I guess, barriers that you've seen, just the getting, because we're having a getting started conversation, what are some of the other things?
I think another major one that's come up is obviously budgetary constraints. Certification's not really something that you can just pull off of a shelf and you're intimate straight away with the costing behind it. So I think a lot of the feedback that I've been getting is that they just haven't prepared for it financially. And it can breed some pretty tricky conversations where, let's say you've got sort of middle management and they're sat there going, okay, well, we see benefit in doing this. Bob, go and make that happen. Bob goes off, does all the research, comes back and says, oh, okay, well, we've done it and we found out that it's going to be this much. And then middle management sit there and go, oh, we haven't prepared for that. We haven't forecast for that. So I think there's a fair bit of conversation around budget that comes through. So, I mean, what would your sort of tips be around that? I mean, how would you...
So I guess some are like proposals, like initially, if you've never been certified before and you've been talking to us, proposals, average proposals, well, they basically start, around about $10,000 or just north of that to get certified. And, we've been looking at proposals today that are $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, $100,000, to get certified. And I appreciate, I run a business and getting a $20,000 quote from someone to get certified, that's a big lumpy chunk out of my cash flow. And also, if I take it in one lump sum, it's going to hit my P&L pretty hard. So, so the second part of it is, then there's also that recurring. So I guess from my perspective, there's a couple of things. One is, how do you account for it in your system? So if it's something that's, like if it's an annual fee from us, the annual fee part of it, then you want to smooth that out. So you could accrue that across 12 months. Because it's an annual charge, but really it's a cost of doing business. So it really needs to sit in your overhead costs, but it could be smoothed out. So it could be journaled across your P&L, so it's an equal amount each month rather than in one lumpy month. So that's going to deal with your your monthly ones. The initial cost to get certified, now I'm not a tax advisor, and I'll put the disclaimer that everybody does. However, I have spoken to our accountant about it. And one could argue that the initial cost to get certified would be something that would get depreciated over a 3-year period, so it should ideally go to your balance sheet.
Yeah.
So it doesn't hit your P&L.
Yep.
Doesn't fix your cash flow,
Yeah.
but it could say that you could take the initial certification fee that's in our proposal and you could drop that onto your balance sheet and then smooth it out, depreciate it over a 3-year period.
Yeah.
So your surveillance fee, so the second part of our proposal, which is the annual registration, could be divided by 12 and smoothed out through the P&L because it's cost of doing business, cost of maintaining, if you like. The initial fee to get certified, once you're certified, the initial certification cost, you don't pay that again. You do a renewal 3 years later, and then you'd add that renewal onto your balance sheet and smooth that out. Now that's going to help your P&L.
Yeah.
From a cash flow perspective, I've literally just spent this morning working with our business coach on a monthly model, so direct debit monthly. So if you feel that just what we've proposed is a huge amount of money, and yes, you get the value, but it's a question of affordability, then reach out to Hugh and he can talk to you about the pilot that we're going to run with pay by the month direct debit. So we're just going to wrap everything up. We're going to divide it by 36 because it's over a 36-month period, and then we're going to run it as a monthly model. So if paying monthly, because of the big hit to you is something that you think you'd prefer to have it totally smoothed out and equal payments on a monthly basis, you can throw it on a credit card. You can get the frequent flyer points. We run it on a credit card system.
Yeah.
We can do that for you. So we're just playing with that model at the moment, how we can actually make it work. We've found a solution this morning, and we're ready to start piloting. So if that's something that's the monthly fees sort of things, I can't help but say that what certification is doing, if you've been asked by a customer to get it is clearing the playing field. So you've got to put yourself into the customer's shoes. If you've got a customer that's asking you to get certified and you're not, are they asking you to go away, or are they asking other people to go away?
Yeah.
And we've and unfortunately that's not something that people always want to hear, but it is a filtration system. It is a procurement filtration system in some instances where a local council or state government or federal government are using it to move the people away. So I do need to tell you that don't try and bluff your customer and say, yeah, I'm going to get certified, but you've never got the mental intent to do it.
Yep.
Because it will backfire, and I see it all the time. So that's why we do the membership certificate. So we try to help you by saying we appreciate sort of the initial certification proposal is a bit of a shock for you. You're not quite ready. You're still learning, and we want to help you with that learning journey. But don't be the organisation that tries to bluff an organisation and say, yeah, we'll get certified, and then just hope they never ask you for it. And we were talking about a company like that this morning, and it didn't pan out well for them.
Yeah.
Because you just make your client feel violated at the end, and then it just makes your project go pear-shaped. So it's better just be upfront and say, look, we don't have an intent to get certified, but ask yourself, are we the supplier that's not certified that they're asking to go away? Do they genuinely want to use us, and that's why they're asking us to get certified?
Yep.
And then why are they asking us to get certified? Like, what's the whole purpose of this exercise? And truly the intent is, best practice is, we are the organisation that is here to help you improve, and for people who want to improve their businesses, want to grow their businesses, and choose to interact with this content, take our advice, I guarantee you will see the benefits. I guarantee you will get to a point where you'll have a simple management system that you can put forward to get certified. That's what we are here. What we are not, we're not an organisation that's for the people that just want the bit of paper. We're not the organisation for people who just let me tick the box and move on.
Yep.
That's not us. And so I apologise if we've led you down the garden path, but I'm genuinely passionate about helping businesses to improve, embracing things like social media, doing YouTube and videos, and trying to look at more effective ways to communicate and help you do that, give you confidence to try it yourself, share my advice, and that's, so you just take that away from us, if that makes sense. So what are some of the other challenges we've got? You got a question, Jack?
I was just thinking, what are the other costs or budgeting?
What are the hidden costs?
What are the hidden costs, like time of the people actually implementing the system? Is there
Yep.
anything external they have to bring in?
Yep.
You might get the bill shock of how much certification costs,
Mm-hmm.
but all the other stuff on top of that, and how can you work around that?
So for those of you that haven't experienced one of our videos before, Jack is running the control panel. So he's at the other end of the studio here, and Jack and I spend a lot of time together shooting videos. So Jack's just asked about, what are the other sort of, if we're looking at the whole life cycle, what are some of the other costs to consider? You've definitely got to consider, think about it like this. How much would it cost me to develop a really, really good business plan that's going to help me achieve the amazing goals I've got for this organisation, that is going to help my team, that's going to inspire my team to grow, and in 12 months' time, I'll be able to measure and achieve the results I set for myself? How much would you spend? So you would probably need someone to help you because you wouldn't be able to do it yourself. You'd probably need a bit of an offsider to help you prepare that plan, or someone to go to get advice, like a business coach. That starts to give you an idea of in your world what some of the costs might be. So here in this organisation, we have a management system. We get externally audited. So I've got a COO who looks after our regulator. I've got another member of staff who writes policies, procedures, drafts flowcharts. We've all got to sit around in a meeting every couple of months with our regulator to be audited. We've got to go and fix the things and improve stuff. And there are boxes to tick, I's to dot, and T's to cross that we probably wouldn't dot, cross, and tick if we weren't being audited by that regulator. We would take the path of least resistance because we're all humans, even though we're best practice. That's reality. And so there are some costs where you're being a bit OCD about how things are managed in your organisation. There's a bit more intensity to inductions here at Best Practice. An induction takes a week instead of half a day. Yeah. There's training records, there's spreadsheets, there's registers, there's things we maintain. But you know what? I think the reality is that we had a few issues come up at the end of 2018, and I was like, oh my God, it's the first time that we've had registers and spreadsheets and inductions. In fact, it was a human resources issue that came up, and we'd had people sign contracts, sign inductions, sign documents, all before they started their employment with Best Practice. And it wasn't a very nice situation, but it was quite good to be in this situation where we had all that paperwork on hand. Yeah. And the fact that we get audited and they checked it all just meant that actually I had it for the management of a corporate risk. So the other costs, administrative costs, that are better or best practice anyway, maybe some external support costs, obviously the cost of best practice if that's what it is, and then it might be you might choose to, if you really want to get dividends out of this investment, I'd like you to think about it like an investment. You want to get dividends out of the investment, then I would highly recommend getting hold of Next Practice, which is our coaching team, and getting the coaches in to help you. And it's a worthwhile investment that's just going to accelerate you forward. So, we've talked a lot about how you can do it yourself. We have our coaching team, Next Practice. They're a team of coaches. They can do a discovery workshop, that 4-hour meeting or 1-day meeting. I'd recommend it's a day. I'm telling you 4 hours to keep it simple. But the 1-day off-site meeting in 4 weeks, get one of our guys in who's done it 1,000 times, crossed all the bridges, dealt with all the obstructions, knows how to actually do it efficiently. Get them in to run a discovery workshop and then help to teach you, and then get them in every 12 weeks to run your management review meeting. And that's Next Practice. There's a bit of information in the magazine that you see behind me about their workshops. If you're interested in that, we've got some videos. We've videoed some of the workshops. We can send you the link to the video and you can just watch it and you can decide whether that's something for you. You can see actually what happens in one of those workshops. I think we've videoed about 5 workshops now, our own and some with our clients, and we can actually share those videos with you so you can see what it's like to actually have one of those meetings hosted, and how much more efficient it is to actually get them in. And then you've got a bit of skin in the game. Everyone's got a bit of skin in the game because you've got an external person coming in to help.
And the guys over at Next Practice, I mean, ISO and the whole certification, it can be quite, you can look at it and find it a little bit daunting. And what I found with the time with Next Practice and specifically Nick, they break it down so it's not this huge behemoth. It's very manageable, it's very easy to digest, and you walk out one of those sessions and you just breathe easy. Like, okay, all right,
Yep.
I get it. I know where I need to go. I know which direction I need to focus on. I know what I've got to be doing. And it's like I said, it just brings the whole thing forward, and then it just makes it very streamlined. So, if you are thinking about it, definitely talk to them and just see if they can come in and help you out.
Okay. So, questions. This is the time for questions. So you can ask questions. Are there any chat questions, Jack? No chat questions. Okay. If you're unable to comment on the video or chat, there's a chat function right beside the video there. If you're unable to, if you're logged in and you can, now's the time to ask questions. So if you have specifically got questions, we're going to call it shortly, so we're not taking up too much of your time. So Hugh's available. He's here at head office at Best Practice for the rest of the day on the 1300 number, so 1300 402 602, which is the local number here in Australia. If you're outside of Australia and you're watching this, thanks for joining us. You can actually dial us. You can dial me in directly on WhatsApp or on Facebook Messenger. You can send me a message and we can have a call on Facebook Messenger or on WhatsApp. So anybody else who's watching, now's the time for questions. So if you've got a specific question you'd like me to answer it live, chat beside there or chat on the live chat on bestpracticecertification.com.au. So jump on to the bestpracticecertification.com.au website. A little live chat window will pop up. You can type your question and one of the lovely team out there in the office will run in and give me that question. So I think a couple of things that I'd like to probably talk about from my role as a CEO, that if you are the owner of the business, or you are the person running the business that sort of jumped on today and has got the opportunity to watch this, I guess sometimes I observe that I work pretty hard, and it's always a conscious effort every day to be doing the proactive work that shifts us forward, like do the big ugly things each day that keep the business moving forward, like tackle the challenging stuff. And I do watch, and it's not a criticism, but it's sometimes a little bit frustrating that the team come in and sort of react. And so I might have said, hey, I want this project done. Like there's a new piece of software, for example, we want to implement HubSpot. It's a marketing automation and CRM project, and Jack and I were talking about it yesterday. And I'm like, I wanted it 9 months ago. What's the hold up? And so we, Jack and I talked about it, and Jack's like, yeah, well, I'm trying to do all the little things, and I know HubSpot's going to solve the whole problem, like ISO would solve the whole problem and having a management system, but it's still a process. And so really, I think sometimes it does take me to say, let me see what you're doing. I'm going to help you reprioritize your tasks, and then could you please spend this 20% of your time available to actually work on this project?
Yeah.
So sometimes as the leader, while we just, don't be the person like me. I sometimes fall into this trap that I just sit back and expect my team will get round to that project. I do actually have to drive the project, and I've got to say, right, show me what you're doing. I'm going to delegate some of those tasks to someone else. And I was talking to Jack this morning about, can we delegate some of his tasks to a new casual person to help with marketing so he can work on the HubSpot project? And we haven't had that specific clear conversation, and Jack's nodding and saying, yes, I'll get onto it. But if if you are the leader, I would encourage you to call me directly and let's have a chat about, how I could give you some leadership advice and guidance or mentoring. I'm always, I'm offering that. I welcome the opportunity. If I can unpack some of the hurdles for you, even if you don't get certified, that's no problem. But if you've got hurdles and I can help you be a better leader, then, that helps me with my ultimate goal, which is to help businesses, improve and be more efficient. And so it might be that, how can we delegate? How can we elevate? And, how can we, not how do we solve a problem, but who's going to solve the problem for me? Get someone to solve the problem for you that's done it 3 or 4 or 5 times before, an external person from the organisation or internal, and then you're going to be that much more efficient and your organisation's going to grow that much faster. And that really, for me, I've been in business for well over 15 years. I've been in family businesses for well over 25 years now. And it really was only about 3 months ago that I had the epiphany on one of my morning walks. It's not like, I'm like, how do I solve this problem? How do I solve this problem? I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this. And I was like, no, hang on a minute, stop. Who's going to help this problem, or who's going to solve? I delegate things to him, I delegate things to Jack. And so being a better leader. So think about that project and say, okay, well, how can I help the team by actually looking at strengths and weaknesses across the team? Right, actually, you know what? I might have given it, it's not happening because I've given it to someone who's just not capable. Now, on the topic of capability, it's probably, while we're waiting for questions, any questions?
No, but I've got
Not
one
yet.
when you're ready.
Okay, so while we're talking about capability, don't forget that we've got our online training academy. When you sign up for certification, you get access to all the online training courses for free, and they're all sitting there on our website. You can buy all those courses; they're all available one-on-one. So if certification or getting involved in this is not something that you're looking at for the next 12 months, you can jump on and you can purchase any of those extra courses, and they're fantastic. And they're going to, if you choose to take the time to invest time and effort and money in those courses, they're going to help you feel better, more confident, and more valuable around actually delivering this project yourself. So you can check out those courses as well. If you've ever got any questions, again, just hit me up. Jack, you had a question.
So for the guys out there that have been given a proposal, say from us or another certifying body,
Yep.
and they give it to their boss and they're waiting for approval, and their boss is off doing something,
Mhm.
they're still working on other projects, they've got their BDM asking them, when's this going to come through? They've got the salespeople from the certifying calling up saying, when are you going to go through with it?
Yep.
And they keep saying, I'm just waiting for approval from my boss.
Mm-hmm.
How can they start to go forward,
Yep.
either by getting their boss to speed up and give them approval,
Mm-hmm.
or even just beginning to start to implement the project without having to have the budget cost or
Yep.
time talk or anything like
Yep.
that?
Look, I think there's two key questions there. So Jack is asking, how do I get the process of approval if I'm waiting for my boss to approve it to speed it up? There's really only ever going to be two barriers. The first one is the boss doesn't see the value, because if they see the value, there won't be a blockage.
Yeah.
And then is it a question of, is it a question that you don't get the value, or is it a question of affordability? Now, both those problems can be solved, but often people will sit on proposals. I know I'll sit on proposals if I don't get the value,
Yeah.
because I'll be like, nah. It's always a no if I don't get the value, but it's a
Right.
yes if I do. So it's like no or yes. If it's a not yet, then it could be a question of affordability. So ask the question: do you see the value in doing this? When do you think it's going to be valuable to have achieved this by? What does success look like? And start to unpack that. So is it you don't get the value, or is it a question of affordability? And that, I'm going to guarantee, is it's one of those two things with your boss. And if you can unpack that conversation and you can say, just talk me through what your thoughts are on getting certified, or what your thoughts are on implementing an ISO management system, what your thoughts are on doing a discovery workshop, what your thoughts are on having next practice come in and run our management review and push us along. What are your thoughts on that? And they might say, it's no, or I don't have time for it. And we make time for the important things in our life. It's the physical needs and the psychological needs and wants. We need to eat, so we stop and we eat. We need to drink, so we stop and we drink. We breathe. We need to do those things, and so we make time for priorities. So it's if it hasn't happened yet, it's seriously not a priority.
Yeah.
And so they don't see the value. Now, if it is a priority, then it's about getting us to get involved, and that's why we do the videos and we try to help people so that there's no financial blockage. You can share videos. You can say, look, I know you're really busy. Here's a video from the Best Practice YouTube channel. I've emailed you the link. Could you watch that at midnight just before you go to bed? So in your own time, or listen to the video while you're driving home from work late at night, those sorts of things. So
have a cup of tea, plug in.
That's right.
Get
So
some
that's what
yeah.
it's there for. It's so that in their time, because often they can't make the meeting, it's busy 9 to 5.
Yeah.
They're out trying to sell. They're out trying to help the business make money. They're out trying to just manage cash flow and manage profitability. And I get that, because that's what I'm trying to do every day.
Yeah.
Does that help, Jack?
Yep.
Okay, great.
Well,
Any questions?
Small business life, isn't it? It's
Absolutely.
Just go non-stop.
100%. Yeah, we've got 30 people here at Best Practice, but it's still a small business.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, we might call it there. If you, and I see there's a few people watching today, if you would like to, if you've got specific questions, you'd like to have a chat, then please reach out. We're available here this afternoon. I'm available on my LinkedIn. So my handle is @KobeSimat on LinkedIn if you want to send me a direct message, or connect with me on LinkedIn. If you want to chat with us here in the office, I'll hang about. There's 1300 402 602 is the phone through the office, and I'll make sure I stay close. I'm not in any more meetings today. I'll stay close to the phone. If you just want to have a personal chat, just share with me, challenges, problems, issues. I might just have that tip or trick I've been doing this a long time now, and it's certainly something that I can help with, and I love helping. And I'm interested also in some feedback. Do you want us to do more of this for you? Has it helped? This video is getting recorded. It'll be left on our YouTube channel. If there's someone that you thought about in this video while you were watching, if there's someone you thought about that you want to watch what we talked about, just give it a couple of minutes to buffer. It'll upload itself to the channel, and you'll be able to copy the link and send it across. If you picked up the link from the email, forward the email. You'll be able to watch from the link in the email. So so I hope it helped you. I'm Kobe Simmett. This is Hugh. We're here at Best Practice, and if you've got any questions, just reach out to us. I'm going to be live again on Wednesday in our scheduled webinar where I'm talking about social media for executives and marketing. I'm reading a fantastic new book called This is Marketing by Seth Godin. I'm going to talk about that next Wednesday. It's absolutely fantastic book. Book recommendations, social media, what's going on in the marketplace. So if you want to generate more leads, more inquiries, more connection with your customers through social media and your executive in your team, it's not something we sell, it's not a service we do. I just thought it could help you guys improve your businesses and improve your customer experience. So if you don't see us before, we'll see you next week on Best Practice TV right here in our webinar. Thanks for watching.